Okay, so what character trait should a BITI student have? So an informatics student is someone that will, well, depending on which what you would like to do afterwards. But typically, the general informatics student need to be able to communicate. They need, because they interact with different stakeholders in order to understand the needs for a new system, or how they can improve the current system, or what the problems are with an existing system. So they need to be able to interact with people. And then they need to then translate that into a language. And that's what we teach you guys in system analysis and design from the first year. We teach you then how to translate those things into a language that developers can understand. But if you are not really a people person, then that is also okay. There's various options that you can then pursue within the informatics field. For example, more technically oriented. So if you like developing, then you will maybe just write programs or code programs, and then you won't interact so much with people. Also, another job opportunity is a tester. So you have to be slightly technically inclined for that as well. The programming involved there is not so heavy as you would have been for a developer, but then you can, so you just test the programs, then you don't interact with people. So what do you like to do, Charis? Okay, that's not a problem. So do you like coding? Okay, so Charis, it is important to know that a typical informatics graduate will usually work in a team. Okay, so each team has different members, and each of those members then have different types of strengths. So it might be that you are really good at writing the design specifications. It might be that you're really good at developing stuff. And it might be that you, in a team, you are very comfortable interacting with people. So I don't think being an introvert is necessarily a stumbling block for you, because in a team environment, you will be familiar with them and they will be able to support you, and you will draw on each other's strengths. So I think we've got a few introverts in our students, but that hasn't held them back. Okay, excellent. So, are you registered to study BCom or BITIS next year? Abby, can you help? I remember now, Vakesh. Good specs for a laptop? Abby?
Wait, Mama, like coffee.
So, okay. Ja, ek is besig. Ek weet nie. Abby, can you hear me?
Dr. Hudson, can you hear me?
Yes, Abby, thank you.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, so I think because I see Karis is also in the computer science Q&A, but he or she is inactive there. So I think there's like a conflict issue between, well, from having two sessions open at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think for now, I think maybe they don't want to miss anything in computer science as well. So for now, you can just answer their questions in the chat box. I know it's not ideal. I'm really sorry, but yeah, I think that's what we have to deal with right now.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, I'm really sorry, Dr. Hudson.
No, that's not your problem. No, that's not a problem at all. So, Karis asked me about e-business.
Oh, he can hear you now. That's perfect. Okay, yeah.
Okay, Karis.
Yeah.
So you are interested in e-business. Okay, so like I mentioned in my presentation, there's a few of the 7 streams, 4 of the 7 streams have the same first year subjects. Okay, so that is computer auditing, entrepreneurship, e-business, and then taxation. So the specialization then comes from the 2nd and the 3rd year for these 4 streams. So obviously the one for e-business is then from your 2nd year you focus more on business, where taxation focus more on tax systems, and you can see that the elective or the subject in the 2nd year BEL year for taxation, so that is referring to a tax subject. So your focus is then more on those aspects. So what I would recommend is, if you can't choose between, say, for example, e-business and entrepreneurship, then you enroll for either of those. And then after your 1st year, after you've experienced different modules and you've spoken to different people and you found out more about what your interests are, then you can choose at the end of your 1st year, then you choose what subjects you want to take in your 2nd year. And then that will then determine what subject you take in your 3rd year. So because when you enroll for the BITIS degree, you don't enroll for a specific stream, you enroll for the degree. But we then just allow you to choose different subject choices for that will then make up a specific stream. Does that help? Okay, great. Is there anything else that would you like to know? See, we have 5 people here. Do we have someone else? Marnay, good morning. Welcome to Informatics. Do you have a specific question for me that I can help with?
I think Marne might have connection issues because she has been like leaving. Oh, there we go. Leaving and coming back. So, but I think she's fine now. Or he, I don't know.
No, I think it's a she. So Charis asks, so Marnay, I just want to say that, that's the great thing about informatics. We are all about solving problems. So if you find your answer without looking for a solution, then that's excellent. So Charis asks, I have accounting as a subject. Will that give me an advantage if I specialize in e-business? So Charis, I think it might, because in the sense that you will already be familiar with the definitions and the accounting principles and things like that. But accounting accounting is not a prerequisite for any of these options. And I don't think it's a prerequisite for any of the BCom degrees in general. So that means that when they start with accounting in the first year, they will start it at a very lower level. Well, depending on how you look at the definition, but they will start it so that everyone comes on the same page. So if you're already familiar with those definitions and concepts and principles, then I think you will definitely have an advantage over those students that will have to learn it for the first time. However, if you are then comfortable with those, I would recommend that you don't, think then you don't have to attend the lectures or things like that, because then you might just be surprised. But I think you will feel more comfortable in the first or few accounting classes than someone that didn't have accounting at school. Oh, yes. Okay. So our INF 370 is the capstone project. So that's the project that you do in your final year. Abby can tell us more about it. He's now busy with it. That is where you add your team. So you guys are a team of 5. Then you find a real life client, usually at the end of your second year or very early in the beginning of your third year. Because in your second year, we try to establish your teams so that you know the people that you're going to work with, and you know that the people are working hard and they all have the same academic goals as you. But if you don't have a team, then we will help you to put you in a team in the beginning of your third year. So then the students go out and they find different companies. And these companies are companies that have not yet they use Excel to capture their sales and their orders and things like that. But they don't have an information system that will allow them some intelligence in their business processes. So what you and your team do then is you have to then establish what the business is all about. And we've got a variety of businesses. This year, we've got a car wash, we've got a driving school, we've got a nursery, we've got a project for the Department of Agriculture, we've got a swim school, we've got 1 or 2, I think, estate agencies, we've got a project that they do for farmers to see to manage their farms. We've got a restaurant point of sale system. We've got events and events company management system. Then Abby, his team is doing, I call it, Abby, you don't know this, but I call it the pick and mix team, because your requirements in the beginning was a little bit of everything. Okay, but the main thing that they're doing is a book system and a visitor management system for a company. And then we've got also a room booking system for a big automotive company that in South Africa, which is actually going to be international. So there's different businesses out there. So usually students find these businesses through a connection. One very interesting one is someone has a company where they rent out containers in different areas, and then those containers are like little shops. So now the owner wants to actually have a system where they can then order products and capture the sales of the products to the people in these informal settlements which come to the shop. So it's a container in a shop. Yeah, the car wash is very, very interesting. You have to book in a queue, and it's really, really great. So it really depends on what you are interested in. So with the BITIS degree, we haven't had so this is the first year that we offer it. So we haven't had graduates from the BITIS degree, but But with these specialized streams, we are really excited about the type of systems that the students will then develop. Because if your specialization is in e-business, then, you know, that online platform that you can potentially develop for an entrepreneur, or which can be, you know, a family member for you, of you, or a family friend, you know, you can, as a team, develop a full functioning system. So what you do is you get the client. Oh, and we've got an athletic system as well. Yeah, so there's many possibilities. So so you get a client, and then you get a client, and then you have to find out what their business is about. So that is why all the degrees have a business component, because it's the information system need to run in a business. So you have to understand basic business principles. So you understand their business processes, then you understand how they currently do business, then you learn how they want to do business. And you have to remember, some of these people, they think Excel is woo. So, you know, you as then a student in the School of IT, you can then suggest ways of improving their business processes, because you know about technology and you know what technology can do for you. So then you get the requirements, and then you design the system, and then you also develop the system, and then you implement the system, and you give them manuals to how to train their people to use the system and to maintain the system, etc. So it's from the start to the end. So that is our capstone project. So I really, really, really invite you to go and look on YouTube, search for INF 370, INF 370 projects. And then you will see every year they make a YouTube channel of some of the projects. So then you can see there's a lot of different projects there. Okay, so Marnay had a question. Can you please repeat the job opportunities? Okay, Marnay, so there's a variety of job opportunities. Okay, so I have it here on the screen. So a system analyst and a business analyst. So first year business analyst, most of our graduates work as business analysts. So that is where, and they usually work for consulting companies like Moyo and EPUs. So what they do is they work for these companies, and these companies then contract them out to different businesses, and then they will learn about what the businesses do and what do they need to change or implement. If they don't have a system, then, you know, what do they need in the system? Or if they have a current system, then you have to learn what the current system does and how you want to change the existing system to make it more efficient and more effective, which will allow the company to make more money, because at the end, that is what it comes down to. So that is a business analyst. So if you want to become a business analyst, and that's where a lot of our students start, you know, you will interact with people. So you have to, you know, because you have to talk to them, you have to ask them about what do you do and how do you do it and why do you do it. So you have to understand exactly what they want in order for you to design the best system to support. So a system analyst is a bit more on the technical side. So a business analyst will then design the system and maybe give it over to the system analyst, and the system analyst will then integrate the technology. Okay, so this is what you want to do. Let's now have a look at what technologies are available that allow us to decide how we want to do this. So the system analyst can also do a bit of programming. Okay, so a project managers is something that you it's always available. There's always job opportunities for project managers, and that is where developing an information system is a project. Okay, so it has a start date and it has an end date, and in between these dates, a lot of different activities need to happen. So that is then what you are going to manage. So if you are a very analytical person and you like making lists in order to accomplish things, then a project manager is a great job opportunity for you. You have to, but I now present these job opportunities as individual careers. But sometimes you will do a little bit of all of these things, depending on the type of company you work for. Okay, so then a programmer. So if you like coding and you like programming, then you will work as a programmer. So not a lot of our students end up working as programmers. There are quite a few programmers, and then they are really good. I mean, you don't have to feel as if you missed out because you didn't do the computer science programming route. Because programming is a language, and as soon as you understand that language, then you can teach yourself other languages. Okay, and depending on the company where you're going to work, they might have a preference for a specific language, then you will learn that. So with informatics, it's all about the adaptability of applying your skills. So in informatics, we teach you the programming principles and how to apply those. And then even in your third year, depending on which company you get in order to develop a project for, you know, you will teach yourself a lot of other programming skills. So Google will be your friend. Okay, so because you know the principles, you know how to adapt that in a dynamic environment. Then a data analyst. That is now typically, so data analyst, data scientist, data mining specialist, competitive intelligence analyst, all of those have a very, very strong statistics foundation. So that is where we then look at systems, manipulating data in order to predict or, you know, develop models to make predictions. Okay, so those type of jobs is also a bit programming heavy, but not necessarily programming like you know, programming languages, more like statistical programming languages. Then an IT consultant, so that is where you work for a company and then they rent you out basically to work at another company in some kind of IT capacity. And that is really nice because you then get exposure to lots of different companies and lots of different ways of doing things. And then maybe after you've done that for 3 or 4 years, then you can say, okay, but this is what I like and that's what you specialize in. So Chief Information Officer, of course, that is chief, so that means at the top. So that is where you then are in charge of a big company's information and technology needs, to say, okay, this is what we need in order to make the best business decisions, and this is the technology that we need in order to get that data. We always have to remember that we can't just, for a company to be successful, they can't just go to Incredible Connection and pick a system off the shelf. Okay. You have to understand that business, you have to understand what the business wants to achieve, and then you have to have the technology that will support that. And that is why informatics is so good, is because we have the business, we understand businesses are different and they all, even if they produce the same things, they do it differently, and that gives them a competitive advantage. Understand the technology language, so you can potentially develop a information system that support that business in order to be more competitive. Then a start-upper, so especially with entrepreneurship as your chosen stream, you know, the focus there is on identifying gaps in the markets and to capitalize on that. And what better way is if you have a great idea and you have the technology skills to capitalize on that. So you can write that app, you can write the program, so you don't have to pay anyone else to do that. And then also an e-business owner, that is online, you know, trading business online. So now again, you will have maybe the great ideas, but you also then have the technical know-how to develop systems to support that. And then GIS specialist, like I mentioned in my main session, is when we now combine geography with information systems, you are becoming more and more marketable, because now we are using GIS systems which use satellite technology and GPS locations to see how many people do we have in this town? Okay, so in order to make sure that the town has enough water and the infrastructure is there to support all of these people, then we need to make a number of different business decisions in order to make sure that there is schools close by and develop that infrastructure there. We can then see how much water is in the dam. Will that then support the number of people that live in a specific area? So if you like geography and spatial information, then that GIS specialist is definitely the way to go for you. Okay, guys, is there anything else you would like to learn? So, Marnay, what are you interested in? So, Karis asked, will there be a lot of maths and BIT degree? If yes, we go into depth into statistics and probability. So, in the BIT-IS degree, we don't have maths as a subject. Oh, well, let me just double check. Yeah, we don't have maths as a subject, but in statistics, you will then start off with there will obviously be probability and that. I can't. It's been a while since I did my stats, but I just want to make sure that's OBS. So, and it also depends on what stream you choose. So, if you choose computer auditing, and so that's the 4: computer auditing, e-business, entrepreneurship, and you will do an introductory to statistics basically in your first year. So the stats there will not be too complicated, but it will give you a good understanding of how statistics work. But if you do information science stream, then you won't do any statistics. Okay, and so entrepreneurship is the same as computer auditing and e-business as well, and you don't do stats. On geography, you don't do stats, but there's a mathematical component to the geography stream there. But for data science, you have to be quite strong with maths, and that's why we have a 60% a maths requirement there. Otherwise, you have to add a year to your studies, and then you will do stats all out, and so that will be a heavy mathematical stream if you choose that. So if maths is not your strong suit, then I would not recommend that you do the data science management stream. Well, computer engineering is a different type of degree. I mean, from what I know, is computer engineering is developing the components that they use in computing devices. So not just computers, but devices with computing power. So you will then develop those cards and switches and things that go onto the motherboard or plug into the motherboard, and then you have to program the elements that allow these components to talk to one another. But the type of programming is on a very lower level. So you also do programming there, but with us, our focus is on developing information systems that can be implemented in organizations to achieve a specific goal. So I can't speak for the success of the computer engineering degree, but I can obviously speak towards the success of the informatics degree. And what I can tell you is all our students work in the direction they studied. They have a variety of different jobs to choose from. The degree is only 3 years. Computer engineering is 4 years. We've got honors options, masters, and PhD options, which I'm sure they also have. Of course, the engineering options at the University of Pretoria is some of the best in the world. But that engineering you have to do maths, and I think you have to have a physics requirement as well. So the entry requirements to computer engineering is different to ours. I guess you can say that computer engineering is more difficult than ours because they do all of the other engineering subjects with. But I think you will not make a mistake doing BIT-IS because you will definitely be successful in the direction that you study. I can just maybe mention that we've got one of our PhD students now studied computer engineering, not at UP, at another university. He did computer and electrical engineering. It was like a combined degree, and now he's doing his PhD in informatics. So they all end up coming to us in any case. Excellent, Chara. So please pop in next year when you're successful in the informatics department. We've chatted a long time now, so I would like to put the face to all the chats. So good luck with your studies. It's very stressful time now. Well, it's in general, it's a very stressful time in grade 12, but now given all the other circumstances out there, I think it's even more stressful. But hang in there, focus on what you want to achieve, and I'm sure you will be successful in achieving that.